I was able to find a ton of secret changes that YouTube snuck into their terms of service updates recently, and nobody's really talked about these. However, these updates have permanently changed the platform, especially for small and new channels, and it's some of the most significant updates I've ever seen if you're trying to grow your channel. And the only way you could have figured these out is if you actually took the time to go through and read the literal 80-page long terms of service yourself, which I happen to do for you. My name is JeremyB. I've been making YouTube videos for over 13 years now. I own all the channels you can see here on screen, including all these 11 YouTube plaques I got here in the background. And a while back, YouTube snuck quite a few changes through their terms of service, and the way they got away with just announcing this is by just telling everyone like, hey guys, we updated our terms of service. They pretty much completely got away with it. And the biggest change starts with this one right here that's literally on their public website, and that is YouTube's right to monetize. According to YouTube's new terms of service, changes have been made to YouTube's policies that now allows them to run ads on channels that aren't even monetized, or even in some cases channels that got actively demonetized. Except, you've probably noticed, YouTube never changed anything about how they actually pay out their ad revenue. You still need to have a partnered channel to get paid, you still need to be making advertiser-safe content, and you still need to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours to get ad revenue. But with this terms of service change, YouTube can run ads on your videos no matter what, and you can bet that they aren't ever going to be paying you out for that past revenue, even if you do end up getting monetized later. Now on paper, this definitely sounds really horrible. I mean, YouTube is pretty much just stealing money from creators now and openly admitting it, and what they're doing here is they're just running ads on channels and just keeping 100% of the money. But ironically, for new and small channels, this has actually become one of the most powerful updates in the history of YouTube. You see, as a result of this policy change, what's happened is that YouTube now has an extreme financial incentive to promote new and unmonetized channels, because now they'll just run ads on your video and keep all of the money. And you might think that's totally ridiculous, but the reality is, if you're a small channel, if you just started, you're probably not going to be making that much anyway. And what's important to understand is that now, as a result of this change, a view on a smaller channel with literally 300 subscribers can now be worth more financially to YouTube than a view from a creator that has 10 million or even 100 million subscribers on their channel. And because of this monetization policy, YouTube has now started to boost small channels much more significantly. Of course, this is all happening because YouTube just wants to make more money, but I guarantee that you've been seeing quite a few videos pop up in your recommended feeds from channels with 0 to 500 subscribers. And these types of channels are getting pushed in the algorithm like something we've never seen before. And so as a creator, I'm going to go through a few things that you can do to take advantage of this. For example, you could definitely consider starting your content over on a new channel, or even posting on like a small unmonetized channel can sometimes be something that can boost your reach. However, there's a lot of nuances to this, so don't go and do it until you watch the rest of this video. When it comes to this whole concept of YouTube boosting up small channels, what you have to actually understand is that they're not just automatically giving you a bunch of views. What you need to pay attention to are actually the impressions that your videos are receiving. Now, an impression just means that your video showed up in someone's feed, and they would have to make the decision to actually click on that video in order for you to get a view from it. And so what I've found from testing this myself heavily, as well as discussing with many dozens of other creators that are also testing this, is that generally new and small channels are getting their first 4 to 6 videos or so boosted up with a few thousand impressions, which again is not the same as views, and it doesn't guarantee views in any way, but what it does mean is that your videos just get a fair shot in the algorithm, and if your first 4 to 6 videos start off as absolute bangers, YouTube will be able to continue that momentum and you can grow an audience very quickly. And it's why we're seeing unprecedented amounts of new channels blowing up these days. And it's all happening as a result of YouTube just being super greedy for more money, which, let's be honest, nobody ever doubted them on that one. However, from what I've seen so far, this whole boost doesn't really apply to older established small channels that have been actively uploading. It can happen if you have an older channel that you've never really posted anything to, but if you're struggling a little bit with getting impressions on your videos and your content's just not getting a fair shot in the algorithm, you could consider trying your next few videos on a new channel and get a fresh start in the algorithm again. However, there's another thing to keep in mind here, and YouTube is totally aware of all this situation, by the way, and so they're taking a lot of steps to also account for the downsides of promoting a bunch of small and newer channels, which is of course, if new channels can blow up super easily, then there's nothing stopping just a ton of bot and spam accounts from blowing up on the platform. So as a result, there's been a really big crackdown on monetizing new channels, making the monetization regulations a lot stricter, and especially targeting bot and spam and re-uploading accounts. And what I've been seeing, and also what I experienced when I tested this out, is that any content that has existed on YouTube in any way before, when it's uploaded to a new channel or a small channel, it's being heavily flagged and suppressed in the algorithm, if not just outright demonetized in most cases. And especially your channel can get quite heavily suppressed if you're found to be re-uploading or simply just stealing content from anyone. And this is also definitely being enforced in a much stricter way for newer and smaller channels, because those are just the types of situations that are much more likely to end up being botted or spam AI accounts. And I don't think this is a bad thing for creators, right? Like, you don't want people stealing and re-uploading your content anyway, right? But what's important to understand here is that if you just go off and make a new channel and try to get like this new channel boost I just talked about, you should never ever post anything that's actually been uploaded to YouTube before, meaning that you should not re-upload your videos from the old channel to your new one, or you'll end up getting heavily suppressed in the algorithm. And so you just need to start the new channel with fully new content only that hasn't been posted to your other channels before. And that might discourage a lot of you from trying it out, so here's a trick that I actually figured out that worked really well. And it's that you can, instead of one-to-one reposting, just remake your content in a new and improved way using significantly different visuals and audio. So what I've done, and I'm actually doing it on this channel right now too, is I remade a bunch of my old videos with improved versions and like completely re-recorded the script and did a new edit on the video so that YouTube just sees it as a totally new video. But for my viewers that are watching my content, for them it's still the same topics and things that they were interested in that they wanted to watch in the first place. And since I'm obviously not re-uploading my videos from before one-to-one, it can easily bypass YouTube's detection systems, and there's no problem with this. And I cannot stress this enough, do not ever repost your content to a new channel, especially if you're making long form videos too. You're just gonna get suppressed into oblivion in the algorithm from even just a slight re-upload or a single repost. And by the way, if you want to learn more about how you can take advantage of these updates and maximize your growth as a channel, this week I'm hosting a completely free YouTube growth bootcamp where I'll take you through some more advanced strategies than I can get into in just this video, and I'll show you how to implement everything for yourself step by step. Again, it's literally free. I mean, I can't make it any cheaper than that, but you can check it out at the link in the description. And back to the video. YouTube has also been updating their monetization reviews quite a bit, with the ads policies changing and being updated all the time, so I can try to give you the most recent take on this. It really seems to be the case that they're following a cycle of they find something they don't like, they decide to demonetize it, and then they update the rules afterwards to add to what they've decided to enforce. So the actual monetization policies are oftentimes months or even years behind what they're actually enforcing. And at least recently, a lot of their focus has been on changing and fixing how their monetization reviews are done. The full details you can see on your screen here, but the main changing question just seems to be that they're focusing on context a lot more when doing their reviews now. That YouTube can demonetize whatever they want, and they're not really enforcing policies equally. It's pretty much just all over the place. I mean, YouTube really, they're just enforcing the will of their advertisers. So what's happening is that maybe they get pressured from some type of advertiser, possibly to demonetize a certain video or a certain channel, and then they're just updating the rules afterwards to match what they're being pressured to do. I don't think it's really YouTube's fault at the end of the day. Like, they don't really necessarily want to demonetize channels. Back in the day, you could monetize any channel for any reason, and you would almost never get demonetized. And there's one key thing here that people have really missed. YouTube knows that their monetization system is a total mess. I mean, they literally admit it on their website. And in order to help creators handle this, I don't know why it's never talked about, but they actually have this webpage right here. There's a completely new but also public form that anyone can submit their videos to. Again, the link should be on screen, but I'll also try to remember to put it in the description for you guys. And as far as I'm aware, at least, this form works for any channel and allows your videos to get reviewed a second time, even if they got denied originally. This is only set up for individual videos that get flagged for demonetization or limited ads though. It's not a system for reviewing entire channels yet. Now, another change that went unannounced, but you might have actually noticed for yourself on this one, is their updates to the search results algorithm. Although YouTube has claimed in the past that they're not significantly updating their algorithms anymore, it seems like that's not the case because search results have gotten a massive overhaul in the past year. Now, when you search something on YouTube, you'll usually only get maybe like 4 or 6 or so, sometimes more, but sometimes less, of actual results of the things that you searched for. And then YouTube just starts giving you a bunch of suggested and recommended recommended content instead of a bunch of different search results. Whereas before, you could search for something on YouTube and you would only ever get shown results of the things that you searched for. As a viewer, I found this change to be just like abhorrent, but when it comes to actual search results on YouTube, like the majority of viewers never even looked past the first few results anyway. So this change is only really cutting out like the bottom 10% of actual search results views on the platform. So it's not as bad as it seems for creators, although as a viewer, I find it really annoying. And so my tip for that is if you want more in-depth search results, what you can do is you actually go to Google search and then you can search for whatever you want to search and just filter your results by youtube.com. And you can once again get infinite results for whatever you want to search for using that method. But what this means for creators is that ranking search results has definitely become a little bit harder. After all, there's going to be less search results to actually land in, meaning that it's likely going to be a little bit more competitive to rank those keywords. However, if you do rank in a search result as one of the first or second results, it can also be much more valuable now, as you'll land on those pages with almost zero competition and oftentimes completely irrelevant videos to what the viewer is actually trying to search for. And this alone can be the difference between 100 views and 100,000 views or more. So in my personal opinion, I think search results are still super viable. If you're a smaller channel, you just need to focus on kind of longer keywords with much less competition, usually like keyword phrases that are 3, 4, even 5 words long, and then target the undersaturated ones so that you can rank them really easily. And then you should be able to rake in the results from those searches over the long term and slowly progress your way to ranking more competitive keywords over time. And especially for smaller channels that are targeting very specific niches, this can be an absolutely huge opportunity, because channels that are generally big and successful optimize their content for broad audiences and usually get less than even 5% of their total viewership from search results, while someone that's doing content for something very specific within that niche that has a very little audience but still has people searching up and interested in those videos could easily be getting like 50 or even 70% of total views from search results. And in particular, search results are generally just a really great view source to target for small channels because it's something that anyone can access. If you can find a search result that no one has made a video for before yet, you can be the only one and then you'll get all the views from that search result. But at the same time, bigger and large successful channels actively avoid search results in most cases because it's just not the most optimal view source for them. So there's a lot less competition to rank search results compared to browse and recommended features. And so the example, what I mean by like small and specific niches here, let's say like sure, something like making fitness content might have a potential billion viewers on the platform, but you're only going to be able to hit like a couple of thousand of those in search results, if any at all really, because it's so incredibly competitive. Whereas if you instead focus on like this really specific niche down thing in fitness, let's say you're doing like hot vinyasa yoga for older women over 50 with lower back pain. If you're doing something in that realm, you can now much more easily access those search terms and be the only one making those videos, and you can easily access potentially as much as a couple 100,000 views in different niches this way. So the best thing is to really focus on a specific target audience or content to jumpstart your early viewership, and then what you want to do is once you have that early set of viewers coming in, then you can expand your content to a broader category. So the previous example, hot vinyasa yoga for older women over the age of 50 with lower back pain. After that, maybe you expand to just hot yoga, and then normal yoga, and then for women over 50 that don't have lower back pain, and then eventually just maybe for older women, and then eventually you can work your way up to being just a yoga channel for women. And this whole strategy works really well, since once you have that initial viewership, YouTube will see how your videos perform with those early viewers and then decide to show it to more people if it's performing well. But it's so hard for that whole setup to happen if YouTube doesn't have any data to judge your videos by in the first place. And so the simplest way to rank keywords is just to put them as like the first early words in your title, or just in your title in general. And then what I like to do is also put the title of my video in the first line of the description. And for ranking search results, you probably want to focus on making like educational or informative style videos, because people aren't really going to be able to search for entertaining or funny or just kind of random videos that you wouldn't really think to look up. And so the simplest way to find search terms to rank is of course to use a keyword tool, but if you don't want to pay for one, you can just type in a bunch of random words related to your content and related to your niche in YouTube and see what YouTube auto suggests for the terms that you're searching up, because those terms that are auto-filled by YouTube are generally like the most popular keywords that people are searching, or other search terms that people like you might have also searched up. And then what you want to do is just actually search those terms and look through them until you find something that doesn't have a really good video that explains what the viewer might want to see for that search term. Maybe there's a guide that was like 6 years ago, or there's just no guide at all, there's no information at all, there's no video. Then you want to go and you just make that video, and then you can easily capture that search term and be the one creator for that audience. There's also another aspect to this as as well, since the perception of YouTube search results is that they've just become complete garbage lately. It's over time becoming even less and less saturated as creators just completely ignore it. After you've grown your channel to a significant level, you always want to transition to targeting browse and suggested views primarily. And while search results aren't really the most optimal view source for a creator, it's one of the easiest ways to just kickstart that early viewership on a new and small channel, because you'll be able to reach viewers that would otherwise never see you, and then you can give YouTube that data of how your videos are performing, and if they like it, they'll easily be able to start promoting your videos to a broader audience. It took me a really long time to piece together all these updates and just verify that they were actually things that were real. So if you want more insider info on how to grow your YouTube channel further, you can check out my free bootcamp. Again, it's at the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. And thank you so much for watching today's video.